Faith is meant to be a shield, a source of strength against the unknown. But what if faith itself is tested by something far beyond human understanding? What if an object, meant to bring you closer to the divine, instead becomes a bridge to something unholy? Tonight, I bring you the story of a man whose devotion led him down a path of darkness. A man who found a set of ancient prayer beads, rumored to hold the blessings of a long-dead saint, but also something else. Something that watches, something that listens, and something that waits. He ignored the warnings, thinking his faith would protect him, but faith alone could not save him from what came next. Stay with me till the end, because this story will change the way you see the world around you. Among the many relics, his eyes were drawn to a particular set of prayer beads. They weren't like the others. These beads were ancient, smooth, and cool to the touch. They had a strange weight to them, as if carrying centuries of prayers, or something else. The vendor, an old man with deep-set eyes, watches him carefully. His hands tremble slightly as he picks up the beads. These belong to a saint, but they must never be left alone. A gust of wind sweeps through the market, causing nearby lanterns to flicker. The man scoffed at the warning. He believed that faith was stronger than any superstition, but the vendor's eyes did not waver. They seemed almost sorrowful, as if he already knew what was going to happen. As the man leaves, the vendor watches him disappear into the crowd. The camera lingers on the vendor's face, expressionless, but his lips move slightly, whispering something under his breath. A prayer or a warning? The apartment is small but neat. Islamic calligraphy hangs on the walls, and a Quran rests on a wooden stand in the corner. The man places the beads on his nightstand beside his Quran. The lamp beside him casts long shadows across the room. That night, as he settled into bed, the vendor's words echoed in his mind. Never leave them alone. But what could possibly happen? After all, they were just beads. He chuckles softly, shaking his head at the thought. He turns off the lamp and closes his eyes. For a few moments, the room is completely silent. Then, a soft tap, tap, tap breaks the silence. The man stirs but doesn't wake. The sound continues, like fingers lightly tapping against wood. The camera zooms in on the beads. They have shifted slightly, as if they've moved on their own. Outside, the wind howls through the streets, rattling the windows, but inside, something else moves, unseen. The clock on the wall reads 3:12 a.m. The room is bathed in pale moonlight. Suddenly, a low, rhythmic sound breaks the silence. It's the soft murmur of a prayer being recited. But something is off. The words are distorted, stretched, as if spoken through another realm. Sometime past midnight, a strange sound pulled him from his sleep. It was a voice, low, guttural, yet unmistakably reciting a prayer. But the tone was wrong, warped, like something mimicking human speech. The camera shifts to the prayer beads, now floating inches above the nightstand, turning slowly in midair. The man's breath catches in his throat. His pulse quickens. Then, a shadow moves at the foot of his bed. He freezes. The camera slowly pans to reveal a tall, cloaked figure standing in the darkness. Its face is obscured. It does not move. It only watches. Terror gripped his heart. He wanted to move, to scream, but he couldn't. It was as if an unseen force held him in place. The figure did not approach, but its presence filled the entire room. A flicker, like a glitch in reality. The room distorts for a split second. Then, everything falls silent. The beads drop back onto the nightstand with a soft thud. The man gasps, sitting upright, drenched in sweat. He flicks on the bedside lamp, but the room is empty. His heart pounds in his chest. Had it been a dream? Or something far worse? It was just his imagination, he told himself. Just stress, fatigue, nothing more. The wooden floor creaks as he stands. making his way toward the mirror. His feet feel heavier than usual, like moving through thick air. He exhales deeply, preparing to splash some water on his face, hoping to shake off the unease. As he looks up at the mirror, his breath catches in his throat. But the reflection staring back at him wasn't his own. The man's face in the mirror is subtly wrong. His skin appears paler, almost sickly. His eyes, darker, deeper, like endless voids. His lips twitch slightly, as if trying to form words, yet remaining frozen in an eerie half-smile. He blinks. The reflection does not. His heartbeat pounds in his ears. He steps closer, his fingers trembling as they reach out. But just before he touches the glass, the reflection tilts its head slightly. Not a natural human motion, but a sharp, jerky movement, like a puppet being pulled by unseen strings. A distorted whisper fills the air, his own voice yet layered with something else. "You shouldn't have left them alone." The whisper slithers into his ears, wrapping around his mind like a vice. A chill runs down his spine, his breath shallow and rapid. He stumbles back, knocking over the nightstand. The prayer beads scatter across the floor, rolling unnaturally in different directions, as if moving by themselves. His gaze flickers back to the mirror. His reflection is now grinning, not with his mouth, but with his eyes. A sudden violent knock at the door startles him. His head whips around. His apartment is empty. The only sound is his own ragged breathing, and the soft tap, tap, tap of beads against the wooden floor. Days passed, but the man was never seen again. His phone remained on the nightstand, his wallet still in the drawer. There were no signs of struggle, no forced entry, no trace of where he could have gone. The camera lingers on the mirror, now covered with a thin layer of dust. His reflection is no longer there. The surface is empty, just a hollow frame reflecting the vacant room, as if it no longer holds a connection to this world. The Quran remains open on the wooden stand, the pages fluttering ever so slightly, as though something unseen were brushing against them. The words appear smudged, not by human hands, but as if a force beyond comprehension has left its mark. A gust of wind rushes through the room, yet the windows remain closed. The pages of the Quran flip wildly before settling on a single verse, though the words are blurred beyond recognition. Then the camera shifts to the nightstand. The prayer beads are gone. Some say the beads were taken by whatever claimed him. A long pause. The camera zooms in on the empty space where the beads once rested. The silence is deafening. Then, faintly, almost imperceptibly, a soft clicking sound echoes in the room, like beads gently tapping against each other, carried by an unseen hand. Others believe they are still out there, waiting for the next person to find them. The screen begins to glitch subtly, the shadows in the room seeming to stretch unnaturally. The whispering voice from earlier, his own voice, but layered with something else, returns, just barely audible. You shouldn't have left them alone. Some objects carry more than history. Some hold on to the past and the things that refuse to let go. The screen flickers for a brief moment, showing a distorted, shadowy reflection in the mirror, then returning to darkness. What do you think really happened to him? Was he cursed, possessed, or did he become something else? A soft, whispering voice echoes faintly, his own voice, but layered with something unnatural, muttering a distorted prayer. The sound fades as the narrator continues. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did he make a mistake by ignoring the vendor's warning? Or was this fate already sealed the moment he touched the beads? A pause. Then the camera subtly shifts, showing a dark alleyway at an old marketplace. A mysterious vendor stands in the shadows, another set of identical prayer beads glinting faintly in his hands. And tell me, if you ever saw something like this at a marketplace, would you take it home? A brief silence, then a sudden loud click of a single bead dropping onto the floor. The screen cuts to black.